All right, we're back.
We are back. And Dylan just said that, which is how I know it's true. Welcome to another episode of Twitching Upstream. Sorry, I had a weird burpee thing in my chest, and it's just weird. Like, what do you do with those? Do you swallow those, or just try to get it up real fast?
Own it. Just let it go.
Just let it go.
Yep.
All right, so if you know what this show is, then welcome to another episode. This will technically be episode 43 of Twitching Upstream. If you don't know what this show is, this is an offshoot of one of our shows called Talking Upstream. And what we do in that show is we find movie directors, movie writers, podcast creators, book collaborators, any real creation, and we chat with them about their process, why they do what they do, how they do what they do, and then we pitch an original idea to them, and then together with their help, usually, we create something weird, and yeah, that's cool. So we have like 42 episodes of that. We actually started recording other episodes. So one of my new favorites we just recorded recently. But yeah, so season 2 of that should be coming out soon. But we do have 42 of those you can check out over our YouTube channel. And what we decided to do was, instead of just creating over and over and over again with people that don't really think about us ever again, we would have another show where we kind of showed people how we create stuff and our process in making weird shows like Silicon Angels, or Create Your Own Podventure, or whatever it is that we feel like doing. So we decided to have this show. We put it on Twitch, we put it on Facebook Live, so that people can engage with us and ask us questions, and also help make our project even cooler, because we have amazing brains, we create amazing things, but you have a better brain, you have a cooler brain. So with your help, the stuff's cooler. So if you watched 2 episodes ago, we wrapped up an episode where we finished up a project we called DEADBEAT, which was very, very cool, set in the 80s, kind of a buddy cop with a guy and his demon possessor. Kind of
a
thing,
boy and his demon.
Just a boy and his demon. Yeah, classic tale. You think there's going to be like a Lassie scene in there? Yeah, me and my kid were talking about the Lassie scene where it's like, go away, Lassie, I hate you. You know, that classic breakup.
You got to throw rocks, but if you're possessed, you just got to throw rocks straight up and just like
straight up and hope they're it's like just hit yourself right in the face. So yeah, so go check out those. It took us like 4 episodes.
We went in depth. We went really in depth on that one.
We went in depth. Yeah. And we're gonna do that with the next project. We're gonna get to that later. I'm gonna let Dylan talk about that in a couple minutes. I do have some nerd news that I inadvertently called Some Nobodies earlier, and I don't think I liked it. But I'm gonna stick with it right now.
I made a banner.
Oh, did you? All right, I'm in.
I liked it.
For the next segment of Some Nobodies, top 5 things I want to talk about real quick with Dylan, if that's okay. Top 5. All right. So the first thing, obviously, with the MCU, and please, if you're in the chat, if you're watching this, let me know what you think, because Dylan does not care, and I need someone to talk about. So MCU. Now, I am really upset and worried about how they're going to bring the X-Men into the MCU. You know, with the hype of Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, which lets me think they're probably not going to recast Deadpool, right? Because nobody else can do it, which means that some of the X-Men either have to cross over, or Deadpool has to get pulled universally out of something into something else. How popular Hugh Jackman was would lead me to think, especially with how fan service is going in modern comic book stuff, how do you think they're going to bring in the X-Men while keeping fan service, but also creating some? I mean, Hugh Jackman's what, like he's 50-something years old? Like, he doesn't want to be X-Men anymore.
I was just looking this up. He's born 2 days after me in some years. He's 53 years old.
Okay. So Now, granted, he looks great, and he's
Oh, yeah.
physically a specimen, but Logan was such a great send-off for that character, as well as Professor X's character. Would it be destroying that movie's integrity to bring that character back? Or do you think that they should just recast with all new people and just start it over?
I think what they're gonna do is spoilers for No Way Home. I think they're gonna do what they did with Venom, and have Deadpool either get pulled through the universes, or if they really want to do like if they really want to show we know what we're doing, like we know we're doing this, just have Deadpool show up and have him be like, "Hey everybody, I got snapped or blipped or whatever you call it, or I got left behind, or I got pulled over. I don't know. I'm here now. Get over it." And that's the only thing Deadpool gets to say. That's the only acknowledgement Deadpool needs, because Deadpool has meta powers, meta narrative awareness, and whatever, which means the fans love it. You can probably cheese it a little bit, where Deadpool is just like, "Hey, wow, it's not very often you get to hop franchises. I guess I did a pretty good job, huh?" Or something like that. Have him be smug about being the same actor in both universes.
Yeah. Now, how do you know a lot about the X-Men universe, or?
I really, really liked House of M.
Okay.
That's the only one I really paid attention to.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Yeah, and otherwise, not such a huge thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just curious, like, if they had to recast the X-Men with current, stars, who do you think would make the best Wolverine? Because I think that's probably the only character that you would have a hard time recasting with our fans being upset about it.
I think you do a different take. I think there are two options. You do a different take on Wolverine where he's mean and nobody's favorite, and he doesn't have a love thing with anyone. He's a jerk like he can be in the comics. You do mean Wolverine, not main character, not protagonist Wolverine. And I think you cast, my dream casting is Jared Kiso from Letterkenny.
Okay, yeah,
He's
that's true.
Yeah, he fights a lot. He's Canadian. He's a minor star with a little bit of a following who would really, really like to see him get a movie role.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be great as Wolverine. I push for that.
Yeah.
Or I think you just have this version of Wolverine have been defeated already, or you do the Magneto thing with Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, where Daphne Keane is his daughter, different version, similar character.
Yeah, that'd be very
I think
cool.
those are the only two ways you can do it without having the, like, we know it's Wolverine, but a different way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think the idea of throwing Daphne Keane in there, because that would link it without it, that's a really good touch. Yeah. Now, we do have a friend of the show, Michael Colby, is going to hop out for the rest of the news segment, and I might as well bring him up now, right? Like,
yeah,
might as well.
Yeah, go for it.
Mr. Colby, how are you, sir?
Oh, hey, I'm super duper. How are you?
Were you ready to come on or not yet?
Yeah, I was just
right.
downloading a game totally legally.
Cool.
No big deal.
Cool. All right. Well, we'll get back in touch with Michael Colby on how the downloading process of his game is going. Next bit of nerd news I want to talk about, and this is something I know that Dylan is actually interested in, so it took me a second to find something. But the Lord of the Rings show is announced, multi-million budgeted Lord of the Rings, and it recently got its name was announced, called The Rings of Power. Now, if it's okay with you guys, I'm going to give you a brief rundown of what these rings are, and I'm curious what Dylan thinks this show's going to be about. Now, as we know, these rings are destructive, corruptive, and irresistible to the minds of most mortals, right? Now, disguising himself so the elves would not recognize him for who he truly was, Sauron persuades the elven smiths, led by Celebrimbor,
Celebrimbor.
Celebrimbor.
It's always a hard C.
Celebrimbor. Ah, man, I forgot about that. To forge these rings under his guidance. While 16 of the 19 rings forged were given to the dwarves and men, 7 to the dwarves and 9 to the men, 3 of the rings were forged for the elves without Sauron's touch. These 3 rings were kept by the elves, hidden by Sauron, and were created not for war, but for healing and protection. Now, 9 of these rings were given to the race of men, like I said earlier. The men who received these rings became effectively immortal. Through the endless lives, eventually became unbearable. The rings caused them to have visions of Sauron. Eventually, they fell before him. And these men became the ring wraith that we've seen in the Lord of the Rings movies. These were the original men that got these power rings that this could not handle it. And they possessed incredible power, but were completely under his control. Now, 7 of the lesser rings were given to the dwarves, though the dwarves, who were more resilient and hardy than men, did not submit to Sauron. However, the rings did cause great avarice and eventually the fall of the dwarves, and leading to their collection of the vast wealths, because as one fall, their dwarves would take it, etc., etc. Now, the last 3 of the rings, like I said earlier, were once created and possessed by the elves, called Narya, Nenya, and Vilya. And each was associated with the element and possessed unique powers. And they were invisible for all, save who also, if you wore a ring, you could see them. If you didn't wear a ring, you couldn't see them. Now, Narya was associated with fire and had the ability to unite and inspire people, invoking hope in face of despair. It was given to Círdan, Círdan, right? I guess hard to see constantly. Lord of the Havens and Mithlond, before he eventually gave it to Gandalf. Now, there's obviously the cool myth about where all those rings went. Now, while the previous 19 rings were crafted with the help of the elves, the final ring, the one ring to rule them all, was crafted by Sauron alone with the ability to dominate the one ring. The other rings. The one ring was made with some of Sauron's own power in order to make it more powerful. Sauron's goal was to use the one ring to influence and control the minds of those who wielded the lesser rings. It also possessed the same power as the other rings, but to a greater degree. Now, by giving the lesser rings to various leaders among the other races, Sauron hoped to dominate their minds and wills, essentially taking over the rest of Middle-earth without war. It would have been an easy victory, however, if it did not work as perfectly as Sauron had intended. During the War of the Last Alliance, Isildur, as we saw, son of Elendil, now, he cut off Sauron's finger and acquired the ring. Unable to resist the power, he kept the ring until his death while was on a journey to bring the one ring to Elrond. Isildur and his party were attacked by orcs. They were attracted by the ring of power. Unable to let it go, Isildur witnessed the death of his own son before finally fleeing and falling into a river. And the ring was lost, and Isildur was killed by orc arrows. The one ring eventually found by 2 hobbit cousins, Deagol and Smeagol, the latter which was killed, who killed the other and took the ring, which slowly corrupted him, now known as Gollum. He was sustained by the ring for 500 years until it was taken from him by Bilbo Baggins. Bilbo kept the ring, carrying with him for the rest of his journey with Thorin and plenty of the dwarves and their journey to reclaim Erebor. And then obviously the movies happened. Now, Dylan, you know Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
And I just summed up quickly a lot of books, not very eloquently, but quickly. What is this show going to be about? Are we going to see Sauron?
Sauron wasn't really around. He wasn't there. No. Probably. I don't think they can help themselves.
Sauron was a human, or not a human, but a being in the early,
an entity.
Yeah.
And between the period where he had the ring cut off and when he got it, and he started gathering power when he was the necromancer in Mirkwood, like he was kind of around. I don't know. I'm cautiously into this.
I'm into it from a nerd point of view, right? But there's so much lore.
Second Age is kind of boring.
Yeah, and there's so much lore to Lord of the Rings. Like, can this hold a mild audience?
Yeah, I think there's a big enough fan base, but they need to do right by it. Like if this is bad, then the audience is going to absolutely abandon the show, and Amazon will have wasted millions of dollars.
Now, once again, this is going to be something that requires fan service, which means you have to put in a Hobbit, you have to lead into the other movies, or else people are, going to be upset. Like, I don't understand this. So, is there any way that a story about Sauron, young jeweler of the Shire, can be good?
I mean, it's about the Rings of Power, so yeah.
Yep.
Wait, it's about a jeweler?
Well, Sauron makes rings. He's a jeweler.
Oh, Sauron. Okay, yeah. I mean, all the fun stuff happens in the First Age.
Yeah.
And then all the movie stuff happens in the Third Age.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not a whole, the Second Age is just a lot of kingdoms rise, kingdoms fall. Sauron kind of hangs out.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're going to put in here.
Yeah. That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll tune in. I'll definitely watch it, whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Oh yeah, I'll
all
watch
right.
it.
Now, Michael, here's something that I wanted to talk to you about specifically,
Yeah.
because I know your love of movies and messing movies up. I was reminded recently that Zack Snyder completely changed one actor, one character in a final, like a movie was done, and he took a whole character out of it and put a new character in. He replaced an actor with Tig Notaro, who is, in your opinion, your favorite comedian, right? Storyteller,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And that has stuck with me for a while. The fact that you could just take out a whole person in a movie and really not tell, you can't really tell. And so I did a little bit of research, and it turned out that, it's happened a couple times. Most notably, I think they took out Kevin Spacey out of a movie and replaced him with Chris Plummer completely. Now,
Good
if
move.
you think, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
pretty good move. Now, if you think about the cancellations of celebrities or just scumbags, whatever, they're just humans with money. And you think about that, is there a movie that you would like to take out a character and replace it with somebody else because they are now canceled? Because the problem I have is Usual Suspects is such a good movie, but I hate looking at Kevin Spacey.
Mm-hmm.
And I would love it if somebody took that movie and replaced Kevin Spacey, kept the character exactly the same. I'm cool with it. I love the twist. I love everything about it. I just
Mhm.
hate seeing Kevin Spacey. So I wanted to see if you guys would be cool with running a little test and seeing if Kevin Spacey movies and who you would recast their character as now.
Oh, we're just going Kevin Spacey. Okay.
Well, I didn't want to put you on the spot by choosing a different.
No. I actually have one.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, hit me with it.
Yeah. Did you ever see Half Baked? Obviously. I mean, you've
course.
seen Half Baked. I can't stand Jim Brewer. And he's also like, even before he was a huge piece of shit, like anti-vax, like hard right asshole.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand him before that. And other than him, I love Half Baked.
Yeah.
And I wish that they would have cast anybody else in that role, in that Jim Brewer role.
Say it gets redone today.
Yeah.
What actor would you like to see get put back into Half Baked as Jim Brewer's role?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't want to see them redo the movie because I think the movie's fine as it is.
Keep the movie exactly the same. It's just you superimpose a different person who rereads those lines.
Tig Notaro.
That'd be great.
Bring Tig Notaro in to replace everybody who needs to be replaced.
I'll put Tig Notaro in to replace anybody. I think she's a good actor, and I think she's like, she doesn't have the best jokes, but she's the one that I could sit there and listen to talk for the longest. So yeah, but also she's like sort of so dry. So to give her those Jim Brewer lines, I think would be hilarious.
Yeah. The
Plus,
original
get some woman representation into that movie.
Yeah, I'm with you. Because the original bit I had was if you had to replace a canceled actor with Tig Notaro. But I didn't want to put anybody on the spot and not think of like a whatever. So I kind of switched over to Kevin Spacey just because most of Kevin Spacey's movies are pretty well known. So if you had to replace a Kevin Spacey role with Tig Notaro, Dylan, who would you choose?
American Beauty.
Ugh.
Replaced with Tig Notaro. I don't know. It's just a funny. That's just a funny.
No,
I mean, that would make it a better movie because then it would make like Tig Notaro and whoever Kevin Spacey's wife is in that movie. That would make their whole thing different. That would
she gets a job at the drive-thru and catches her wife cheating. Yeah.
But I definitely don't want to see Tig Notaro like hitting on a 17-year-old boy for weed.
That's an issue with the movie, not the casting.
I know the movie's
that whole movie. I really liked that movie the first time I saw it, but I rewatched it and I'm like, and this was even before the Kevin Spacey stuff. I was like, this movie is a pretentious piece of shit.
Yeah.
You don't think a plastic bag floating on the wind is?
So
who would you recast in Usual Suspects as, Verbal Kemp? Remember, the movie stays exactly the same. You put this person in from today taken over all of Kevin Spacey's lines?
David Arquette.
Kevin James.
You would not see that coming. Kevin James. Oh God.
Have him be dramatic. Why not?
Yeah. All right. How about for Lex Luthor in Superman Returns?
I actually liked him as Lex Luthor, which is a real shame.
Yeah.
Tig Notaro? I don't know. Like,
have
her shave her head in the white suit.
Idris Elba.
Oh,
Idris Elba would be a good Lex Luthor, I think.
That is true.
Lex Luthor's a white guy.
Not in the cartoons, but yeah.
I mean, that's going to be, now that I think of it, that's going to be my answer for all of these. Just replace Kevin Spacey with Idris Elba for everything.
Yeah.
Even 7?
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Idris Elba in 7? That'd be cool, right?
Did he stutter?
Okay. All right. Well, let's just move on since we've answered all of them. Idris Elba. All right. Next bit of nerd news I want to talk to you guys about. Mouse. The amazing book recently got banned from some schools. A Tennessee school district controversial ban on the Holocaust graphic novel Mouse appeared to have spurred efforts to get copies in the hands of more readers. Now, do you guys know this book? Do you know the story of Mouse?
Oh, yes.
Yes, I do.
Quickly, how do you feel about this being banned?
It's absurd.
Do you know why it was banned?
Because
I can imagine.
the reason that they gave, that the school board gave, is because there's one panel where it shows a mouse character nude with like human anatomy, sort of.
Yeah.
And that's the reason that they gave to say, oh, we can't let our kids see this. But like, it's not like in a sexual way. It's, you know, they're about to kill this character and, you know, it's a whole thing. It's ridiculous. The only reason that they would have done it would be to get the kids to not learn about the Holocaust. It's, you know, I don't want to say it's in a southern state, so of course they're going to do that, but it's in a southern state. So like, that's the sort of thing that they're trying to not have kids learn about is the fucked up stuff that America's done in the past, or not. I mean, obviously America was not involved with the Holocaust. We stopped it, but like we're sort of going in that Nazi direction.
Yeah. Now, even Spiegelman, he told CNBC, he said that the school board could have checked with their book banning predecessors, and he obviously meant the Russian President Vladimir Putin. He said he made the Russian edition of Mouse illegal in 2015, also with good intentions, because he wanted to ban all forms of the swastika. But the smaller publisher sold out immediately and had to reprint, causing his book selling to like skyrocket. So he's actually selling a lot more books now because people are like, oh, it's banned. I need to see what this is about. But do you think that you can get rid of a story because of iconography that is in the story?
No.
Right? That is terrible.
Especially not when it's used in a historical context like this, and especially when the point of view of the narrative is not to endorse that iconography. Like, this is another move. Like, anytime people recommend banning books, it's either malicious or just because they have a lack of nuance in their argument, and they're just like,
it has a swastika.
Yeah.
I don't understand context.
I love Mouse. I think that it was one of the things that really taught me the most about the Holocaust. You're learning about the Holocaust from an outsider point of view is good to have all the knowledge, to have the information, to know from a bystander point of view. But reading that book and understanding what Spiegelman was trying to do, being so close to it, and that book has so much emotion and power, and it really informs people about the Holocaust in a different way. So if you haven't read this book, Mouse, please find a copy of this thing and go get it. It is gorgeous. And if you want to borrow mine, let me know and I'll let you borrow it. But please check that out. It's not fair that they're banning books, especially historical relevant books like this. But before it's gone, get your Mouse. All right. Now, in kind of the same news, and this is the last thing I'm going to talk about before we get into the creation part. Now, Ezra Miller recently, like I think on Thursday, he posted a very weird message on social media. I'm not really sure if you guys saw this. Now he is cast as the Flash, and he has a movie coming out fairly soon. But he's also wearing the Flash ring in this video that he put on, and he says, it just starts with saying, "Look, if y'all want to die, I suggest just killing yourselves with your own guns, okay? Otherwise, keep doing exactly what you're doing right now, and you know what I'm talking about. And then, we'll do it for you if that's really what you want. Talk to you soon, okay? Bye." Now it was a video of him saying that to the camera, and along with the video, he also wrote, "Please disseminate, gross, this video to all those it may concern. This is not a joke, and even though I don't recognize myself to be a clown, please trust me and take this seriously. Let's save some lives." Obviously, Warner Bros. Has to be pretty upset with this, but obviously, I support him. I support anybody who's anti-KKK. I don't know exactly what spawned this, but do you guys have any thoughts on this whatsoever?
Bold.
Yeah,
from a professional perspective.
It's a weird way to go about it. I don't disagree with the message per se, although, there's got to be better ways than just getting someone off the face of the earth. Maybe educate them instead. Maybe tell people to educate themselves before they kill themselves.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the message like kill yourself or we'll do it. I don't like that. I'm a fan of education and communication, obviously, but it was just such a weird thing to see, and I'm curious, like, something seemed to have started that. You don't just blast that I mean, you should, but you don't just kind of hop on social media with a very direct anti-KKK message unless something started that. So yeah, do you think we're going to hear any more about this?
Yes. I think something's going to come of this.
Yeah.
I don't think I mean DC has proven that they're willing to shoot themselves in the foot, but I don't think they're going to do anything I don't think they're going to actively do anything against Flashpoint. I think that's too big. But I think Ezra, I wouldn't be surprised if this was self-sabotage against his DC career taking over.
Now, if this were a Disney character, would Disney have got rid of him?
Like a character or an actor?
Well, if Ezra Miller were playing a Disney character, like if the Flash were a Disney character, let's say he's playing like a Star-Lord.
I didn't know if you meant like Mike Wazowski going on Instagram and being like, "Hey,
no,
KKK." He's got his lie and he's driving with like his ring on.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. No. If Ezra Miller, the actor, were in a DC or in a Disney universe, like if Disney were in charge of his contract, would they have fired him over lashing out at the KKK because this is weird publicity?
I think they do something. I don't think they fire him, but I think they'd probably do like, can you censure actors? I don't know.
I mean, I think Disney would, but get rid of him as an actor and replace. I mean, there's 50 Flashes anyway, so
yeah,
why not just put a different Flash in there? Like, give me a Jay Garrick. Give me a Jay Garrick Flash. That's who I want to see.
Yeah. So he should be fired because he's anti-KKK. Also, and you want to see Jay Garrick instead.
Yeah, I want to see an old man. I don't think not because he's anti-KKK. Again, I am 100% for that. But telling people to kill themselves is just a weird way to get any message across.
Yeah, I agree.
It's weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all the news I want to talk to you guys about. Thank you for contributing. I appreciate your vague silences.
Well, you were talking about Lord of the Rings for a long time.
Well, I know, but the thing is, I wanted to kind of establish like the lore of what Lord of the Rings is to see what people thought this show was going to be about. We saw the one ring get destroyed, so this would either be like the creation of a bunch of rings or something.
I think it's going to be about the creation of the rings and how it affects the states of Middle Earth, and then you end with you don't have a super high stakes end of the world plot because we know it's not going to happen, but you lead up to there's a darkness gathering in the east. I wonder who that is. And then you see like an eye of Sauron or something flash on screen briefly. And it's like, whoa, bet you can't guess who that's going to be.
And now the question becomes, is the guy from Shadows of Mordor, the human guy that you play as, is he going to be in there?
Mr. Bland white man with long hair.
Mr. Blandman.
Italian. Yeah.
Because in the movies, like Sauron has like there's like the mouth of Sauron, and then there's like the face of Sauron or whatever, right? Because there's the one guy that like one deleted scene is the mouth of Sauron, and it's like just that crazy whatever. And then the guy that you see later on is. So I'm just curious, like, what is Sauron just a dude looking for like an apartment, and he's just making rings?
I mean, Sauron took on a human form or an elf form very briefly, I think, to trick the elf lords into taking the rings. It's like Analar, the gift giver or something. So I think we'll see. I think we'll see a character who everybody's like, "Hey, thanks for this ring, mysterious figure we don't have any connection to." Yeah. Wait a minute, why do I smell brimstone? Oh well.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think it's going to be obvious. Everything smells like brimstone.
I think it's going to be obvious, and I think it's going to lack a lot of subtlety, but I think it's going to be probably good enough for a lot of people.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the creation part of what we do on this show. I've talked long enough about stuff that nobody cares about but me. Now, we want to thank some people that help our show become what it is. Obviously, if you want to help us make some weird stuff, you can go check out all the junk on Patreon. We do have a Patreon. And we're going to start putting a lot more weird stuff on there. Dylan and I just talked about that earlier.
Took some pictures.
That's at least some hand-drawn art and text descriptions of them. But yeah, so special thanks to Red Flanagan, Sarah Tkachuk, and Tanya Shack, our East Coast fans. But like I said, if you want to help us continue to create some weird stuff, go check out our Patreon, which you'll probably see a very weird video on there within the next couple of days of Dylan being Jerry Seinfeld. Were you Seinfeld in one of those episodes?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Now I'm gonna let Dylan talk about.
Nick Cage. That was Nick Cage.
Oh, Nick Cage, right? I'm gonna let Dylan talk about what we're gonna do with this episode and the rest of this episode and next couple ones, and why Mr. Michael Colby's here.
Yeah. So, as we do on Twitching UpStream, we take an idea we originally pitched in Talking Upstream. We spend a little bit more time on it. We apply some structure to it. We talk about the craft to turn it into an actual story outside of just being a summary and outline. This week, for this little like upcoming mini series that we're going to focus on a project, we are doing a story that we kind of originally developed with Michael Colby and his partner Matt Terrier from Jack Billings Presents, a whole bunch of other podcasts. Episode 31 of Talking Upstream, we pitched an idea that Zach called Disappearing Act. The original idea was that a couple of people go to a magic show, the magician disappears that person, and they don't come back. Or they fail to bring them back, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I think the original idea, the magician, once like in the middle of the disappearing act trick, the magician has a heart attack and dies, and they don't know how to get the partner back. I think that was the original idea. Yeah. Obviously, Jack Billings really threw some wrenches in our gears. But I think what we came up with was still pretty cool. It ended up being like a hell heist. I think we had to go into hell to get the partner back. But yeah, so let's work on that.
I actually have the idea here right now. Oh, look at that. This is our development document we'll be using for this little series. This is the original pitch as it appeared in my notes that I took during the episode. So I'm going to read it down kind of straight through. I'll probably abbreviate some stuff that feels a little long. Disappearing act. We see a magician preparing for his last show. Main character and their partner, and I think that meant romantic partner. It's someone they will miss if they're gone. Get tickets to the magician's final act. They were supposed to go to somebody else, but somehow they came into possession of these tickets for what is advertised as a famous magician's final show. The magician calls up ticket 45 or some other designated ticket number, and it turns out it's actually the partner's ticket, not the magician's mark. And we get the impression that the magician had planned for this to be someone in the audience. The magician whispers something in their ear. I don't know what that was supposed to intend. The partner is vanished, and the trick drains the rest of the magician's life force, and he drops dead on stage. or he has a heart attack. We initially think it might be a heart attack or something, but ultimately, person disappears, magician dies. The partner is sent to hell. And we know that because it's just an endless bureaucracy and it constantly smells like crap. Yep. The main character goes to the magician's bookstore, finds that magician's occult text and their preparatory stuff and all of their notes and wizard nonsense. At the funeral for the magician, the main character went because they were just kind of curious. They encountered a group of magicians who worked with the one on stage. And then he goes, wait, whose show did you go to? This guy, Alistair the Amazing? Yeah, we call him the Hell Guy because his trick is that he finds people who deserve punishment and sends them to hell. Yeah, we're going to get your partner out, don't worry, but it's going to be difficult. Then they have to find the original target and trade them for the partner. Equally equivalency, exchange rate of souls and all that. The backstory we had worked out was that Alistair was trying to send a cop to hell for getting away with something awful they did. Nothing specific, but, the magician group and the main character go to hell. They have a little heist, get the team together, have your plan. We intercut with all of this stuff. Turns out hell is an unending bureaucratic nightmare. The partner is constantly filling out punishment paperwork or something along those lines. And we just kind of cut between the main character diving into hell, kidnapping the cop, getting the cop ready to be swapped to place. Yeah. So, and then we didn't really have an ending. I think the episode, I think we went off the rails on that episode.
No, that doesn't sound like us.
It doesn't sound like you at all.
Yeah, we recorded this episode almost a year ago to the day.
Yes, February 2021.
Yep, 50 weeks ago is when we did this.
Yeah,
and wow, what a year that was. No, I like this story a lot. I think that the concept and so far the skeleton is very intriguing of this. So I'm really cool to get this going. Michael, what do you think when thinking about this this concept? What do you see this as media wise? Would you like to see this as like a series, like a movie, like a comic book?
I mean, it feels like a movie. It feels like there's meat on it to give it like maybe a mini series, but like to try to stretch it out would be just terrible. It has too much like of a chance to go places that nobody would possibly care about. It feels like it should be contained.
Cool. Yeah, I'm with that. Dylan, you're into that as well?
I agree. Yeah, this feels like a one-off. Like I don't disagree. Maybe like a BBC style, like 3-episode thing, where like a Sherlock style thing, where each episode is like an hour and a half or something.
Yeah,
but it needs to be, and it's a one-off. Yeah,
cool. All right, I'm into that. So we have like let's say a feature film, right? We'll try to get it to an hour and a half just to see what that's like. Now, are we setting this? We're setting this in like today, right? Because we kind of hit like a lot of period time. So I think we should probably
present day. Big ol' Marvel style caption at the front.
Ooh, big like projected onto the theater as the couple is walking up to it.
Yeah.
Ooh,
that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I like that. So all right, now we have a present day, we have a couple, and by that I just mean a pair of people, and one is bad, is that right? And one is good?
No, one of them is the main character and one of them is an unfortunate victim of circumstances.
So their tickets get swapped with somebody they're sitting right beside then?
Something like that. Or somehow they wind up with the cop's pre-designated number ticket.
Yeah, I think one of the ideas that we had was that the cop or whatever figures out what's actually going to happen and gives them the tickets as they're walking by.
Right. Yeah. I think that's cool. I like that a lot. So I guess like once our couple gets there, they see some shady people, right? And they see just some other regular magic goers. And one cop just says like, or one, I guess, patron goes up to him and says, hey, if you guys want, here's better tickets. Let's just swap our tickets, right?
Yeah, or here's just tickets as they're walking past to like get coffee or whatever.
Okay.
Here, do you want to go see a magic show? It's free.
Oh, okay, cool. So the couple wasn't going to the magic show; they just are awarded these free tickets.
I think that makes what happens to them way worse.
Yeah, it's more tragic.
Cool.
Yeah,
and it helps drive the main character to be like, we weren't even supposed to be there. We need to get this fixed.
Yeah. Now, do you think this would be a better story if this were, say, like a first date? Because then that person would have to decide, like, do I even want to save that? Like, I don't even know this person.
I kind of like that idea because it gives the main character like, it's kind of my fault they got sent to hell.
Yeah. All right. So let's do that. So
guess I need to make this right.
That will make it more lighthearted than if it's a couple who are like married or have been dating for a long time.
Yeah, I think that's a funnier idea to me. So if you guys are cool with that, I'm cool with that. So they're going, like, maybe they're just walking along like a boardwalk or something, eating ice cream. They don't know what to do. Somebody walks up to them and says, "Hey, do you guys want free tickets to see a magic show?" And one of them is like, "I would love to go do this," and the other one's like, "I don't really like magic."
The main character's the one.
Yeah, obviously. And so he pulls the other one into the show, which caused all that, because then he has that, I don't know this person, I don't need to save them, but then, this is my fault.
And then, like, the main character's the one who originally gets called up.
Yeah.
But since the partner wants to do it, they go up instead, which sort of gives them more guilt to actually go and do it.
Yep. Oh, I see. Okay. So the okay. Partner pressures MC into going.
Oh, okay.
Wait, is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, the partner wants to do it, the main character doesn't, but then since the main character is the one who's dragged in, the partner, like, the main character originally is the one who gets called up. Yeah. But then once the partner gets disappeared because they were more excited to be there, that will give the main character a reason to go after him, because he's, or there, I don't know who it is. I think originally we were casting Kristen Stewart and who was the other one?
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
What's her face from Fast and the Furious? And the first Resident Evil movie.
Oh, yes. Rodriguez?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What's her face Rodriguez from Lost?
Michelle Rodriguez, yes.
Yeah.
I'm still into that. I think that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so the one that doesn't want to go is the one that does not go to hell, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's even funnier, because then they're like, I didn't even want to do this.
Yeah.
And now I have to do this. They better be cool.
Yeah.
All right, so I like that. Are we going to? Okay, so then we have the scene where, like, I guess it's a stupid magic show, which is fine, and then they call up number 45, and then the partner goes instead of the main character because they like magic more. I think that's cool.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I don't want to go on stage. I don't want to go on stage. You go on stage instead. You wanted to be here. You this will be great for you. And they're like, oh, okay. Are you sure? Okay. No. They're very enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Now, do you want to keep that thing where the magician whispers something in their ear? Because I kind of like that. No?
Oh, I mean,
because he'd be like, you're going to hell, you son of a. But I guess he would also know that this is the wrong person now. Whereas, like, I'm really sorry, but I don't know how to fix this now.
No, I don't think Alistair, I don't think the magician recognizes that it's the wrong person. Otherwise, the magician would not do it.
Yeah, and that also gives the person getting sent to hell a chance to, like, do like a surprise facial expression, like, I don't know, and then you see the partner, like, recognize that face as.
So I kind of like that. I think we should keep that. And maybe
I agree.
Maybe we don't know what it is up front, but then maybe somebody in, like, the front row is recording it, and we can enhance the sound or something. And that
good. They have to find that person first.
Yeah, and so that'll be, like, maybe one of the clue. I'm not sure. Maybe we can touch on that later on.
It could be Alistair's assistant. Like, Alistair the magician whispered something to her before she disappeared. What does he normally do that?
Yeah, that would keep it more.
Yeah.
Like, then we don't have to go, finding a random person from the audience.
Yeah, I mean, I guess either one works. I just think that we should come back to that probably in like the beginning of the third act and be like, this might be the only thing that we know. But I guess what we should do.
I don't even think third act. I think that's like before the funeral.
End of first act.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because
right.
the second act is going to be getting the team together, and the third act is going to be like getting the person out of hell.
Get the team together, baby.
All right, cool.
Love it.
You gotta have it.
All right, well, let's break that down then. Let's break down the arcs just so we can understand kind of what we're doing with this story. Because I guess I had it a little bit different, but I think what you said makes a lot more sense. So first act is the inciting incident and the knowledge that I guess hell exists, magic exists, and we got to get this person back.
Yeah,
right?
and I think we should start it right away, like the couple walking past the thing, like no screwing around, no build up to anything. Just the couple is walking past the thing. They get handed the tickets. It looks a little bit shady, but free magic tickets. One of them wants to go.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we have like just some kind of that a little bit of dialogue somewhere that would elude people to think it's the first date. Maybe they're getting along, but
it's fine, but a little awkward, I think.
Well, I think they're getting along until the magic thing, and one's like, "Ew, you like magic?" And then the other one's like, "I actually kind of secretly love magic." Yeah. It's like, oh, fine. Because on a first date, you'll just go do anything. It doesn't really matter. It's like, what, roller skating? Fine.
Yeah. Oh, it's not like we're going to see a juggler or something.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I hope he juggles too. I love that. All right. So then act 2 is building the team
and getting into hell.
All right. And then what is act 3? Getting out.
Yeah, getting out.
Okay, cool.
Some of the team has to go and find the cop who is supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So that they can swap them out. And then I also remember that not going well, and then they just kidnap the partner and leave, which I think is very funny. I think this works well as like a black comedy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm into that. Now I also like the idea of them not getting the original person that was supposed to go, although it's probably, like a piece of shit cop or whatever. But I think that maybe they bring a couple people that are bad with them, and they're like, is one of these fine? Like, can one of these do? And they go, no, like, no, we need this guy. We need this person in hell. Okay, so
yeah.
I'm trying to kind of catch my bearings as to where we should get back into. I think that let's try to get what the end of arc 1 is before the end of this episode, if that's cool.
So what I saw, just based on our previous one, main character and partner go to the magic show. The partner mistakenly gets sent to hell, and Alistair dies on stage.
Yeah.
Main character's like, where'd she go? I don't like where. And then can't get any answers. Just like, it was a magic show. They don't actually disappear people at magic shows, right? So their search is kind of fruitless. In a last ditch effort, they want to find Alistair's assistant, and it's like, oh, there's probably going to be a funeral. Goes to the funeral, meets Alistair's assistant, who's upset about something, and also meets this other group of like magicians that Alistair was kind of a part of, and that's where the magicians are like, oh, you're the mark. Listen, let's go to this coffee shop. We'll tell you all about him. And it's like, yeah, Alistair was our hell guy.
I really like the scene. I really like the concept of the scene of like, once the magician dies and the partner or whatever is disappeared, eventually like the audience is going to leave the theater, right? And because they're like,
oh, it'll end the show for sure.
Right. Like, what do we do?
Ticket refunds, and it's like, you want a refund? It's like, I got this ticket for free.
Everyone leaves, and the one person on a date's like, well, and they like go up and they stomp the stage looking for like a trap door, and look in the curtains, and they're like, well,
miss, you can't be on here. This is an ongoing, like, this is an emergency crime scene or something,
Yeah. And
the disappearing the person would surely be like the big last trick of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's what
so
I'm
everybody
saying.
would just naturally leave anyway.
Well, if Alistair dies on stage, everybody's going to leave anyway.
It would be awkward because like for like at least 3 to 4 minutes, people are like, is this part of the act? Like, there's nobody on stage anymore. I guess we'll leave. And then like the lights come up, and everyone's like, "Hey guys, sorry, there's some technical difficulties. Show's over."
The curtains closed, and like
it's like, get your
stage
refunds.
manager comes up. And it's like,
get your
production
get
manager,
your refunds.
Please, thank you for coming. We will be offering refunds at the ticket booth.
And it's
we're
like, don't
also
worry.
We're also gonna have to figure out a reason why Alistair dying like puts a crimp into the problems, because like him dying means nothing if he wouldn't have brought her back anyway. So if he's just sending people to hell, him dying means nothing.
Except he's the only person that could bring them back.
Yeah, I think it's enough for him dying to close the door on having a conversation about you got the wrong person.
Because this is an entry to like a different universe. Because you're like, okay, not only does magic exist, but my partner has disappeared, and I can't talk to the only person that knows anything about this. So I think that's a really good push into like, I guess I'll start reading some occult books. What do I do? You know, and it's like some person that really doesn't want to do this journey is now like,
deep into it.
So
the team like can maybe knows parts of it, but Alistair was the only one who totally knew the ins and outs of getting
so
people
I guess
in and out of hell, which is the craziest thing I've ever
heard. Teleportation, like, we can do it as a coven. We can do it together. It's going to take a lot of work. Alistair was a specialist. That guy knew what the fuck he was doing.
It's like, look, you can teleport anywhere you've been before. Alistair was the only one that's been to hell, so we can't get there.
All of that guy's other tricks are shit, because the teleportation was the only thing that he knew how to do, because he was like, I think we do show a little bit of the magic show itself with like a wand turning into a bouquet of flowers and like awkwardly pulling a rabbit out of a hat, and then he does like the most amazing, like, disappear someone before everyone's eyes.
He like disappears something kind of big, and he's like, now for my final act, I'm gonna disappear an actual person, and he's like, number 45, whatever. I think all that's great. So we start this movie off with the dating couple going to the magic thing. So we have a half an hour here, right? So the first like 5 minutes is them getting in, sitting down, understanding they're at a magic show, and then you figure like what the next like 5 minutes is the final act setting up. The next 5 minutes is the realization that the person is gone and the show's over, right? That's first 15 minutes.
You want the inciting incident to take place around the 10-minute mark. So I think they get the partner gets disappeared at 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. All right, so disappear at 10 minutes. And then what's the next, say, 20 minutes of this first act?
We have the main character hunt down, like, you know, kind of reach out and have some weirdness about like, did they ghost me? Was this all a setup because they had a bad date and they know the magician? Was this entire thing a setup to get out of a bad date?
So there's
good, Dylan.
Genius. And then you have something happens where they're like, no, maybe like the person's friend, because you know you always you go on a first date, you tell a friend like, hey, I'm going on a date with this person, we're going to these locations if something happens, and then that person contacts the main character and is like, hey, what happened to so-and-so? I haven't seen her in a day. Like, it's been 24 hours. And it's like, what do you mean? She got disappeared. What the fuck are you talking about? We went to a magic show and she got disappeared. Oh, okay, genius. What did you do to her? And that way we have the ticking clock of like, they think this character did something sinister. So that you have a time to get them out of hell. So that way it starts like, I guess I got to hunt down Alistair the Amazing. His funeral... I guess his funeral's happening at Layman and Son's funeral home or something.
And there's a bunch of just like weird shadow magicians in the back. And you're like, I'm glad that motherfucker's dead. I'm so glad he's dead.
And they're debating as to whether it's like, is he tricking us? Is this a bit?
All right, so who do you think is going to be part of this team? So I would assume that the team's going to be main character. We have possibly friend of partner. We have
I wouldn't put that person on the team. That person is actively like, we cut back to them every once in a while, like talking to the cops or like talking to the partner's family.
They're not informed. Like yeah.
Oh, so what if they actually go to like the police department and they're like, hey, my friend's missing. They went to a magic show, but it's the bad cop who gets it. And he's like, he's like, I'm gonna file a report. I like this. Okay, cool. All right, so our team up is going to be main character. Now they're probably gonna have like a magician friend they're gonna meet at Alistair's funeral, right? That they somehow forced to go with them. I would assume that
I don't think
Ross
they force it.
Huh?
Who do they force to go?
I mean, look, this person's not going to want to help them out. Why would they?
Wait, which person?
Would they? Who, like, say that the main character, when going to the funeral, meets another magician. Any magician might know what Alistair's up to. Unless we can find a reason for that person to want to go against Alistair, main character needs to force that person to help them open a portal into hell or whatever.
Oh, I think the main character goes to the funeral, sees a whole bunch of people who are clearly magicians standing at the back of the graveyard or whatever. They approach and they're like, hey, are you magicians? And they're kind of like, yeah, I guess you could say that. And then it's like, well, just before Alistair the Amazing died on the stage, the person I was on a date with was his volunteer from the audience, and she's gone, and I can't find her. And the magicians are good people. Ooh. I think we make them collaborators. We're like, they're like, wait a minute. Oh shit, Alistair got the wrong person.
Well, maybe at first they're like, well, what'd they do? Because he only gets rid of real pieces of shit. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't know what they did. I don't know this person.
I also like a panning shot over the funeral.
Yeah.
That's like regular funeral goers, and then it gets to the back and it's like cloaks and capes and top hats, and
they're not nerdy at all.
Mustaches and
but they're like greaser bullies. Like they're flicking cigarettes and they go, yeah, fucking magic, whatever. And like they flick a cigarette and you go, hey, don't
cigarettes with like the long plastic handle.
Yeah. And they go, hey, don't litter. And they go, I didn't. And you look over and it's like a flower on the ground. Damn
it. But ultimately they're like, oh, Alistair got, they're like, oh, that he pulled the perfect final trick. And it's like, she didn't do anything. We were given those tickets for free by someone outside the show. And they're like, he got the wrong guy. Listen, kid, we're going to help you get your girlfriend out of here. And she's like, she's not my girlfriend. I don't think a date was going well. And it's like, we don't need to know that.
Yeah.
We're going to get her. Do you not want us to help her?
Yeah. Do you want her back or not? Like, I guess her friends are looking for her.
I also like the main character having to learn something. Like there's one thing that these magicians don't know.
Oh yeah.
So she has to like go to the occult bookstore and study up on.
Yeah, like they're not allowed in certain places anymore.
Yeah,
so she has to be like their
or something
person.
Like that. We got to give her something to do that's magical that she doesn't know how to do.
Yeah. Also, she's the only one who knows who this person is. They go, what's her name? They go, I think Jennifer. I don't know what her last name was. We just met. And they go, well, how did we find her in hell? It's like, well, I don't know. All right, fine. You have to go then too. That's how she. I mean, she's the only one who knows who this person is. All right, cool. So, what we're going to get done with the next couple episodes is we're going to finalize who this team is. We're going to get together, Act 2 and Act 3. Put together some cool scenes, some cool plot points, and really just dive into some characters. So hopefully we can get Michael Colby to hang out with us the next couple of Tuesdays. Yeah. But like always, if you have any suggestions or think the story should go a different way, or you think it's really cool, leave in the notes. We would love to hear what you think. You can always send us an email, somenobodiesmedia@gmail.com. You can always text Dylan anything that you want to say because he loves receiving...
Oh, thanks, producers, for putting that up. I appreciate it.
I tell you, I don't know why they do that. You can literally text Dylan all times of the day.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, and if you want Dylan's phone number, just email me over at somenobodiesmedia@gmail.com, and I will gladly give you Dylan's
phone. We'll give it out.
So, yeah, please go check out Michael Colby and all of his cool shows. I'll let him talk about them because I don't want to make it seem like I'm making a joke about them because they are great. So, Mr. Colby, tell people who listen to this where they can find you.
You can find my shows. I have less shows now than I used to, but I love This Terrible Game, which is a video game show where we talk about video games. There is Generation Clash with my kid. We're talking about who's this week? Cardi B is this week, and then our next episode is going to be Voltaire, the goth violin funny man. And then you can find me over at Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex, where next Tuesday we have an episode starring one Mr. Zach Wiseman, which is honestly one of the funniest episodes. When I got done, like usually when I get done editing the episodes, I'm like, there it is, put it up. I listened to this one twice since then. It's so good.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
I tried hard. I tried very hard on this one.
Very good. Zach Wiseman stars as Adam Lynch, the ghost of the Reading, Ohio butt stabber.
Yep.
Who went on a crime spree stabbing butts through the town of Reading.
That's about right for Southeast Ohio.
Yeah. There's not much to do
or
stab, really. But yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Colby, for hanging out with us. Obviously, if you want to see the precipice of this episode, you can check it out in the show notes, which I will correct. If you're watching this live, the show note is incorrect. But yeah, you can go check that out over our channel. But
I also we were talking about, I forget when, but we were talking about that game show that we were on.
Yeah.
It's a show called Super Fancom.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
And the episode is called "This Is Going to Go Well." I think it did not go well for that poor guy.
No, but it's a good episode.
But I just re-listened to it, and it is hilarious. So go listen to Super Fancom. I don't think he puts the episode numbers up, but the episode is called "This Will Go Well," I think.
Yeah, that guy was very excited when he reached out to us the first time, and then afterwards, I was like, "Hey, I heard that was cool," and he texted back,
"Heard from him since."
Oof. But yeah, so you can check out everything that Mike Colby just said. You can also see him randomly on things that we do that Dylan writes. His voice will pop up in season 2 of Silicon Angels. But honestly, whatever. Just
I'm also doing Tipon's Theater on Subspace, which is a Star Trek comedy show.
Oh,
and a show called Starship. Oh, forget it. I can't remember the name of it. But I play an old man who escaped from an old folks home and is tagging along with his son, who's the captain of a starship.
Cool.
That's cool. Go check out all that. Check out anything that we do, and just know that I appreciate my best friend Dylan Terry. Thank you to people that support our show: Mr. Red Flanagan, Sarah Tkachuk, Todd Sheck, our East Coast friends. You can check out Jeff Dwoskin at his stupid show on Wednesdays, live from Detroit. You can also check out that old man Scott Curtis at Behind the Bits and whatever else he's doing. But more importantly, thank you for very much for just paying any attention to us. We like being listened to. We like being looked at. And we just want to make stuff. So help us out. Dylan, you got anything to say? Any words of wisdom?
Nah.
Word. All right. I have been Zach. He has been Dylan. And you have been great. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.